My name is Maren Ellis. I am 29 years old. And I used to think love was something you built slowly, piece by piece. Until one day, it became a home. I was wrong. Sometimes love is just your name on someone else's paperwork. Sometimes it is your money in their curtains. Your hands blistered from assembling their furniture. Your patience mistaken for weakness. Sometimes, the future disappears so quietly that the only warning is a blank profile picture where a smiling face used to be. Liam Mills and I had been together for 3 years. It felt serious. I thought it was serious. We had talked about marriage, children, weekend trips, what kind of dog we would get someday. A golden retriever. Because Liam said small dogs looked judgmental and big dogs made a house feel alive. I laughed when he said it. I remember thinking that was the kind of silly detail couples only collected when they believed they were safe. 6 months ago, Liam found what he called the perfect apartment. A small 1-bedroom on the 7th floor. Unit 7B. With a narrow balcony that overlooked a row of maple trees and the back of an old brick church. The kitchen was too small. The bathroom tiles were cracked near the tub. The bedroom barely fit a queen bed. But Liam loved the light. He stood in the middle of the empty living room with sunlight across his face and said, "Can you imagine us having coffee here?" Us. That word did something to me. The problem was his income. Liam worked freelance design jobs. And his money came in waves. Some months were good. Some months were thin. The landlord, Mr. Russell, needed a guarantor before approving the lease. Liam was crushed. He tried to act calm, but I saw the panic in his eyes. He wanted that apartment so badly. He kept saying, "It's okay. I'll find something else." I didn't hesitate. I told him I would be the guarantor. At the time, it felt romantic. Not in a flowers and candles way, but in a real-life way. My signature on that lease felt like a promise. It felt like proof that we were moving towards something permanent. I also paid the $2,850 security deposit, a gift. I told him, an investment in us. We spent weeks turning that little apartment into a home. I assembled the flat-pack bed frame, while Liam sat cross-legged on the floor reading instructions aloud like a dramatic courtroom confession. I hung the gallery wall he designed. Even though he changed the spacing 3 times and I nearly lost my patience. I paid for the linen curtains he claimed he could not live without, because, according to him, cheap curtains make a room feel temporary. Temporary. I should have paid attention to that word. The couch was mine. The dining table was mine. The TV was mine. Most of the kitchen things were mine. But I never thought about ownership then. I thought about warmth. I thought about him making coffee in the morning. I thought about someday moving my books onto the shelf beside his. Last Tuesday, I brought up the future. Not dramatically. Not with pressure. Just honestly, my lease was ending in 4 months. And I said, maybe it was time to look for a place together officially. A 2-bedroom. Something that belonged to both of us. Not just his apartment with my name buried in the financial paperwork. Liam's face changed. It was quick. A tightening around the mouth. A small shadow behind his eyes. So subtle, I almost missed it. He set his fork down and said, "Can we not do this tonight?" I blinked. Do what? Turn dinner into a heavy conversation. I tried to laugh because I wanted the moment to soften. I'm not trying to make it heavy. I just thought we should talk about it. He rubbed his forehead. I'm tired. Maren. That was it. The wall came down, so I dropped it. The next day, his texts changed. Hours passed before he answered. When he did, it was one word at a time. Fina. Busu. Later. By Thursday. I knew something was wrong. I called him. Straight to voicemail. I checked his social media. Gone. Blocked. At first, I panicked. My heart kicked so hard I felt it in my throat. I thought maybe something had happened to him. Maybe he was hurt. Maybe he was spiraling. Maybe I had missed some sign. So I drove to his apartment. His car was there. The lights were on. Music was playing inside. Low and warm. The kind of playlist he used when he wanted a room to feel intimate. I knocked. No answer. I stood there, with my key in my hand. The key he had given me 3 months earlier, with a smile, and the words, "You're not a guest here." So I opened the door. The first thing I saw was a pair of muddy white sneakers on the rug, near the entrance. Women's sneakers. Small. Expensive. Careless. Not mine. Then I heard laughter from the kitchen. Liam stood by the counter with a glass of wine in his hand. Beside him was Philippa, his ex-girlfriend. He had mentioned her before. Always casually. Always with that careful tone people use when they are trying to make something sound harmless. They went to the same yoga studio now. They were friends again. She was in a complicated place. I was too mature to be jealous. Philippa's hand was resting against his chest. Not friendly. Not accidental. Both of them froze when they saw me. Liam's face drained of color. Philippa did not look guilty. She looked irritated. Like I had interrupted a reservation. "What are you doing here?" Liam asked. His voice was thin. "You blocked me," I said. "I was worried." He looked away. "You should have called." "I did." "You blocked my number?" The silence after that was almost impressive. Philippa stepped back from him. But not far enough. Liam swallowed. "I think you should go." For a second, I thought I might break. Not yell. Not scream. Just collapse right there in the doorway of the apartment I had helped build. But something colder arrived first. I looked at the curtains I paid for. The couch I chose. The table I carried up 7 floors, because the elevator had been broken that day. I looked at Liam. Standing in the life I had helped create. With another woman beside him. Then I took the key off my ring. I placed it on the small table by the door. And I walked out. I sat in my car for almost an hour. Not crying. That surprised me. I kept waiting for the sobs to come. For my body to catch up with what my mind already knew. But instead, I sat there staring through the windshield, at the yellow glow of Liam's windows, and felt something inside me go very still. The betrayal was not just Philippa, it was the silence before her, the blocking, the cowardice, the way he had erased me from his phone, while standing inside an apartment, my name still protected. I drove home, opened my laptop, and pulled up the digital lease agreement. I kept copies of everything. Liam used to tease me for it. "You archive receipts like a tax auditor," he once said. That night, it saved me. The guarantor clause was clear. I could withdraw support by written notice. After that, the tenant had 30 days to provide a new guarantor or vacate. My hands were steady as I wrote the email. Subject: withdrawal of guarantor status for lease at Unit 7B. Tenant: Liam Mills. Dear Mr. Prayand. Russell. Please accept this email as formal written notice that I am withdrawing as financial guarantor for the lease agreement of the above-mentioned property. Effective immediately. As per the terms of the agreement. I understand. This initiates a 30-day period for the tenant. Mr. Liam Mills. To secure an alternative guarantor. Thank you for your understanding. Sincerely. Maren Ellis. I hit send at Sublus and Partube p.m. Then I blocked Liam's number. I blocked Philippa too. Though I had never spoken to her before that night. I blocked him on the one social media app he had forgotten to use against me. Then I turned off my phone, and for the first time in weeks, I slept. The weekend was quiet. Too quiet. I cleaned my apartment like I was removing him from the air. The framed photos went into a box. His hoodie went into a donation bag. The ceramic mug he always used for coffee went into the trash, because I could not stand the thought of someone else touching it. By Sunday evening, the hurt was still there. But it had shape now. It was no longer a storm. It was evidence. The storm broke on Tuesday afternoon. Mr. Russell had clearly waited until Monday to process my email. He was old school. Professional. Careful. By Tuesday, Liam had received the formal notice. My phone started vibrating against my desk. Unknown number. Then another. Then another. I let every call go to voicemail. Then the email started. Subject: call me right now. What did you do? I just got a letter from my landlord. It says you withdrew as guarantor. Is this a joke? It says, I have 30 days to find a new one, or I'm out. You can't do that. Call me immediately. This is insane. It was not an eviction notice. Of course, it was a notice to cure or quit. But Liam's panic was real. 5 minutes later, another email came. Subject: seriously. Answer your phone. My dad can't do it. His credit is a disaster. You know that. Are you actually trying to make me homeless? After everything? This is how you react. You're being cruel and childish. I read it twice. There was no apology. No mention of Philippa. No explanation for blocking me. No shame about standing in that kitchen with his ex-girlfriend while I knocked on the door like a stranger. Only outrage that his safety net had been pulled away. Then, Philippa emailed me. Subject: grow up. I don't know what your problem is, but you need to fix this. Liam Isavrek. You are putting him in a terrible position because your feelings got hurt. Whatever happened between you two is between you two. But messing with someone's housing is disgusting. Be an adult and call the landlord back. I almost laughed. Baona do it? From the woman standing barefoot in the kitchen of the apartment I had helped furnish, I did not respond. Instead, I created a folder in my inbox. Correspondence. I saved every email. I screenshotted the call log. I documented dates, times, subjects, and numbers. Not because I wanted revenge, because I had finally learned what Liam had not. Paperwork remembers what people deny. By midnight, Liam changed tactics. Subject: please. Okay. I know you're hurt. I should have told you about Philippa. I was scared. It just happened. But we can talk about this. Please don't do this to me. I love that apartment. It's my home. Our home. Remember how excited we were when we found it. Please don't throw everything away over one bad night. Our home. That was the part that made my chest tighten. Not because I believed him, because once I remembered him standing in the empty living room. Sunlight on his face. Asking if I could imagine us there. Now I understood. He had meant the comfort, not the commitment. He had wanted my signature. My deposit. My labor. My patience. My trust, but not my future. And certainly not my questions. So I closed the email. Saved it. And said nothing. The next morning, the campaign against me began. It started with a text from our mutual friend. Alexis, hey. I don't want to get in the middle of anything. But Liam called me crying. He said you're trying to get him kicked out of his apartment. Is everything okay? I had expected this. People like Liam rarely tell the complete story. They tell the version where they are surprised, abandoned, victimized. They leave out the parts where they quietly erase someone else's existence first. So I answered calmly, thanks for asking. Last week, Liam stopped responding to me. Blocked my number. And every social media account. And I found him at his apartment with his ex-girlfriend, Philippa. The only thing I've done since then is remove myself from a legal financial obligation I no longer feel comfortable carrying. His housing situation is a consequence of his own choices. Not mine. I read the message twice before sending it. No insults. No emotional language. Just facts. An hour later, Alexis replied, "Oh. He definitely didn't tell me any of that. I'm so sorry." Martin? The same conversation repeated itself throughout the week. Different friends. Different phone numbers. The same carefully edited story from Liam. The same calm explanation from me. On Ibiwan. People stopped defending him. Truth has an advantage over lies. It does not require constant maintenance. A few days later, another email arrived. Subject: the apartment stuff. Since you're being like this, you need to come get your things. But we need to discuss what's actually yours. The couch was my idea. The TV stays because I use it every day. The bed should stay too. I think the fair thing is for you to leave the major furniture and take the smaller items. Also, you still owe me for half the last 2 electric bills. I stared at the screen. The confidence was almost impressive. He had cheated, blocked me, expected me to continue guaranteeing his lease, and now wanted me to donate thousands of dollars worth of furniture to help him start his new relationship. I opened Excel. Column A. Item. Column B. Purchase price. Column C. Receipt. Column D. Owner. Every major item in that apartment had one owner. Me. At the bottom I added one final line. Security deposit. $2. 850. Paid by Maren Ellis. I attached screenshots of receipts, bank statements, order confirmations, and warranty registrations. Then I replied, Liam. Attached is a complete inventory of my property currently located in your apartment. As documented, the furniture, electronics, and household items belong to me. I'm not requesting reimbursement for utilities. Please consider the last 6 months of electric payments my final gift. I will collect my belongings this Saturday between 1000 a.m. and 200 p.m. I will be bringing a friend to assist with moving. Regarding the security deposit, I will formally request that it be returned to me upon termination of the lease, as I was the original payer. Thank you. I pressed send. Less than 3 minutes later, another email appeared. From Philippa. Subject: seriously. You're unbelievable. A spreadsheet. You're actually taking his bed. You're trying to leave him with nothing. And forget the security deposit. That was a gift. You're never getting it back. I smiled for the first time all week. Not because of what she wrote, because she had just admitted, in writing, that they intended to keep property they knew belonged to me. Another document. Another file. Another piece of evidence. Moving day arrived under gray skies. My friend Rachel met me outside the building with a rented truck. When we walked into the apartment, Liam and Philippa were already waiting. Liam looked exhausted. Philippa looked angry. Near the entrance sat several boxes containing lamps, books, and kitchen utensils. Everything else remained exactly where it had always been. The boxes by the door are what you can take, Liam said. I looked around the room. My couch is still here. Silence. My television. Nothing. My dining table. Philippa folded her arms. We're not letting you strip the apartment. I nodded once. I understand. Then I took out my phone. The alternative is very simple. I'll request a civil standby from the police while I retrieve my documented property. They can supervise the move and ensure everyone follows the law. Neither of them spoke. After several long seconds, Liam quietly stepped aside. Rachel and I worked for almost 4 hours. We dismantled the bed, wrapped the television, disassembled the dining table, carried out the couch, loaded every documented item into the truck. The apartment slowly returned to what it had looked like before I ever walked into Liam's life. Body. Echoing. Temporary. As Rachel and I carried the mattress through the doorway, I looked back. Liam wasn't crying. He wasn't apologizing. He simply looked stunned, like someone who had believed emotion would always defeat organization. He had expected heartbreak. He found documentation. The security deposit became the final chapter. I mailed a certified letter to Mr. Russell. Inside were copies of my original payment, my bank statement, and a formal request that any refundable portion of the deposit be issued directly to me upon termination of Liam Mills's tenancy. I mailed a copy to Liam as well. No surprises. No arguments. Just paperwork. A week later, Alexis called. Liam couldn't find another guarantor. I wasn't surprised. His father couldn't qualify. Philippa couldn't qualify either. Despite all her confidence, her credit history wasn't strong enough. 30 days after my withdrawal, Liam surrendered the apartment. 2 weeks later, an envelope arrived from Mr. Russell's management company. Inside was an itemized statement. Lease breaking fee, cleaning charges, minor deductions. The remaining refund totaled $2,250. The check was made out to me. Most people would have accepted the loss. I wasn't most people. The $600 deducted from the deposit existed because Liam had broken the lease after losing his guarantor through his own actions. So I filed a small claims case for exactly $600, nothing more, nothing less. I attached every email, every receipt, every inventory sheet, every message from Liam and Philippa refusing to cooperate. 2 days before the hearing, I received an electronic transfer. $600. No apology. No explanation. No note. Just the money. I canceled the claim. Months have passed now. I heard Liam and Philippa are sharing a tiny apartment across town. Apparently, their relationship became much less exciting once it involved bills, cramped living space, and consequences. Several mutual friends quietly drifted away after learning the full story. As for me, last weekend I finished assembling a new bookshelf in my own apartment. My apartment. Every piece of furniture inside belongs exactly where it is. So do I. People sometimes ask whether I regret withdrawing as guarantor. They expect me to say yes. They expect guilt. But what I feel isn't revenge. It isn't happiness over someone else's downfall. It's something much quieter. Oda. Liam believed love meant I would keep protecting him, no matter how he treated me. He believed blocking me erased responsibility. He believed betrayal would hurt too much for me to think clearly. He miscalculated. Paperwork doesn't care about excuses. Contracts don't recognize manipulation. And consequences arrive whether people believe they deserve them or not. I never destroyed his future. I simply stopped financing it.